Hey everyone, welcome back, and we have a bonus video today. We're going under the hood of quite a nice guitar, or quite nice to some. Player's grade condition, a term used far too often, but it's the term we use for a good vintage guitar that is not original, and I think it's just the simplest term to use to describe them. So I guess so that people know what we mean. But essentially, a non-original, and I mean, some players' grade guitars probably don't actually play that well, but this one in particular does. Fantastically resonant guitar, but here it is, original case. Poodle type case, and if I open it up, there we go, Blackguard alert. So this is a 1952 Fender Telecaster. The case has been relined, but there you can see there's the bullwhip badge. So this is an original case for this guitar, and there we go. 1952 Fender Telecaster. So we're going to have a look inside this guitar today. It's not completely original, so those of you who were hoping that you were going to tune into this video and see a completely original example, you are not. So essentially we're going to have a look today and see what is wrong with this guitar, or what is right with this guitar. Most of the hardware is actually original, which is great, but we'll go over to the bench and we'll have a look and see what we find. So to start with, we're going to have a look at the outside of the guitar, just as it's all together at the moment, and we will work up the guitar from the body first, mainly because the body is probably the most obvious I guess condition issue or change, in the fact that it's obviously lost its finish. So lost its original finish there and stripped to natural and oiled. But the good thing about when they're stripped, which you wouldn't necessarily see on a finished one, is you can see the old dowel holes, which I guess is one clue to seeing that it is an original body. So these were, for those of you who don't know, these were used in the process of making the body. So the body would have attached to a template, and then once a template was used, they were sort of doweled in and planed back to the wood. So those dowel holes on these old ones, this is where they should be on a Telecaster. On Stratocasters, you have one here and another one, but like I said, when you have a finish on the guitar, they are harder to spot, but because it is a natural, stripped back to natural, it's a lot easier to see. So you will see just in the pocket there is a bit of wood infill, and we'll go more into that when we look at under the guard, because it has been chopped around a bit underneath there, but that is the original guard. So the term Blackguard people use for these early Telecasters, like I said, it is a 52. So this is the very brittle material actually, so you've always got to be quite careful taking these on and off, that you don't sort of over tighten a screw or anything and it go crack, because that would not be good, because that's an expensive mistake to make. But you can see all the original hardware. Obviously this is pitted quite a lot. These barrels and adjustment screws, they're actually probably, or they certainly look later. So, but the plate itself is original with the correct 4-digit serial number, and then you can see you've got the dome top knobs. So knobs, the knob spec on these early Fenders did change. They went to flat top. So you got these dome top barrel knobs. And if you actually look, which we'll find out when we go inside, you can see that the tone knob is actually sitting quite proud compared to the volume knob. You can see the nut underneath and that pot has been changed. We do have the original, but we'll have a look at that when we go inside. So that's the one, when this guitar first came in, that was the one observation that was easy to make, that it must be a replacement because it's sitting quite proud. And then just going to the back again, I've got the original plate here. You can see the wear is very in line with the metal wear on the front of the guitar, and of course you won't find a serial number there because I've already mentioned it. You have the serial number on the plate here on these early Telecasters. So yeah, that covers the body. As we sort of go up the neck, you'll see one of the position markers has gone, and you can see a few more have gone. Now the board has been sanded slightly, not drastically, but it has been sanded slightly, and it has been refretted, so we got sort of slightly bigger frets. I would say though, you know, for me, playing wise, it's more comfortable for me now with these sort of slightly bigger frets. It won't be for everyone, you know, but some people prefer vintage fret wire. But you know, it's not too big, but it's certainly makes it more comfortable for me. It is a nice player as well, I have to say. And then you can see here that there's been a slight bit of sanding on the edge there. You can kind of see you see where it tapers round. And then looking up here, we've got the top nut. This top nut has changed. It's not quite the right material. And you'll also see here, it might be difficult to make out on the camera, but there is a bit of infill wood there. Whether that was just some damage that has occurred at some point, but you can see there's a bit of infill wood just beyond the nut. Then looking at the head, you can see the original decal there. You can see where some holes, probably for string trees, have been in place, but there is the original string tree there, so that is an original string tree. The tuners on this guitar are currently replacements, so the bushings are repro on this one. And then if I turn it over, you can see there we do have some repro tuners. We do have the originals, or in fact we've got 5 of the originals, so not all of the tuners. We're missing one original, but the ones on there are currently repros. We'll have a look at the tuners in a second. And there have been some other tuners at some stage. You can actually see just in here there's some filled dowels, so you can see that there's been some incorrect tuners at some point installed on this guitar. And then looking at the back of the neck, really nice feel on the neck, nicely played in, and the neck in general does, I mean, it looks like it might have been buffed up a bit, but I can't see really that it's there's any refinishing on there, which is quite nice. So it's got a really nice played in feel, and quite a nice flaming on the maple there. Not that makes any difference in terms of the playability of the guitar, but I guess just looks real nice. And yeah, I mean, some people would say it's a higher grade maple, maybe, I don't know. Does it matter? It's a musical instrument at the end of the day. But that pretty much covers the outside of the guitar. I think we'll have a look inside and see what we find. So guitar dismantled, as you can see, here we go. And like I said, original guard, which is can be quite brittle, these things. Now the one thing I will say, having a look at this, is we're actually quite lucky that this has survived, because a lot of the time when people make modifications like pickups that this guitar has, that we'll see in a minute, people do, open the guard hole to fit the pickup rather than save the guard and put a new guard on. So luckily they've done that, so we do have the original guard. Like I said, this is an original black guard, and this scratch plate is worth a lot of money.
I think someone at some point way back when would have done this mod and then just thrown the guard away. Yeah,
exactly. So lucky this is still intact, and but it's not even just throwing it away. Some people would do this mod and they would adapt the original guard, which is not good. So, but when you've got a guard that's potentially worth thousands, as mad as it sounds, then we're okay. So I'm going to put that safely over there. So we're just going to have a look at the body and what we've got here. So as you can see, there's a very, very inventive, I've never seen a route quite like this, repair there. So because of the way it is, to me it's probably unlikely that it was a humbucker, which that's the typical thing for people to do is a humbucker route, but I can't quite see within this infill how that would fit in.
Yeah, because even if they took this out, you then lose the support for the neck.
Exactly, but if you think a humbucker would come down here and then go across there, and it would probably slightly bypass this bit here. So anyway, maybe it was another strap pickup or something. That would be my best guess. But one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to take all of this out. So the route underneath here is okay, and it's quite fiddly, so we're not going to do it. But this pickup is original. You can actually see from the top that it's original, but looking underneath you can definitely see that it's original. So that is the original plate, as we already saw earlier. So original pickup. This does appear to be the original pickup. If not, it's a close replacement, but it does appear to be an original type. So obviously it was taken off at some point, and something else put in there. So either this is the original that has been saved and put back on, or it's a very close replacement. And as you can see here, we've got some filled holes, which would have been where the replacement guard to house the replacement pickup would have been, and they've now been filled in so that the original guard can go back on with its rightful holes. So yeah, that is that covers that, I think. And then if we have a look here, taking this original plate off, as you can see, you can actually see some of the finish remnants right in the corner there. You can see a tiny bit of yellowish hue paint, butterscotch. But let's turn this over. The wires are just about long enough to do this. So you can see we've got an old capacitor there and a replacement tone pot, as mentioned. The replacement pot there, and if I go into this little bag, you'll see there is the original. So you can just about see the ink stamp. This is Clarostat, with a company that supplied these pots, and then you'll see the blue stamp on this volume pot as well. There's all sorts of resoldering going on, but that would have had to have been done to change things around. So yeah, you can see there a fairly modern pot here, and then the original Clarostat there. I think just as we are looking at bags of bits that come with the guitar, so these will obviously be included in the sale, we do have the original tuners here, 5 of them should I say. So there's the original Fender tuners with the patent number or patent application stamp on the reverse, and there are the original bushings as well. So like I said, we've got them all in there, and yes, there is 5 there and some original screws. That's a nice touch to have those, and we will pop that back over, and we can now get that all put back together. But that essentially covers the internals. So really the final thing to cover, we got the neck taken off, and you can see the original pilot hole usually sits around here. There is an exact measurement to that point, so that you know it's a genuine Fender neck, but generally it's in that, by sight it's in that position. And there we go, we turn it over, we can see the stamp. You'll also see the truss rod is not a crosshead, it's a flathead screw adjustment in this year. And then of course 10, 20, 52, 90, 52, and then the TG for Tadeo Gomez. Now, a lot of people get a bit carried away with the whole Tadeo Gomez thing. You know, he was the neck man at the time, and I only found this out recently, and it's quite interesting. Some knowledge that I picked up very, very recently. Just because it says TG doesn't mean that the neck was necessarily made by Tadeo Gomez. It just means that the neck was made on his shift, or it was signed off on his shift. So I think that's quite an interesting thing. When you see listings of people saying, oh, it's got a neck made by Tadeo Gomez, doesn't necessarily mean it's made by him. Yeah, like I said, only found this out recently through a very, very good source. But Tadeo Gomez, the TG, just means it was signed off on his shift. He could have made it, but it doesn't necessarily mean he did. So there we go. That shows everything we need to do or look at with the neck and the rest of the guitar. There we go, ladies and gents, that was a look inside this 52 Telecaster. Apologies for those that were hoping it would be an original example and you'd have something to compare it to, but there are some original aspects with it that would help in the future when you are looking at sort of these things and trying to appraise. So it is a great playing example, player's grade condition. It's a nice resonant guitar, it's a good weight as well, and yeah, this will be coming up on the 5th of March in our next auction, and we've got a guide price of you know, in the region of £12,000 to £15,000, which it could be a good buy for someone who wants to get or acquire a Blackguard for their collection, and not pay the very high prices of that we see now on the originals. So coming up on the 5th of March. Previews will be going up on the website guitarauctions.com, and please do have a look at our other videos, consignment updates and what have you. Subscribe to our channel, like the video, so those like you can also see this content, and of course hit the bell icon for future content, which, like I said, includes more videos like this, consignment updates and video demos. And this guitar we will have demoed by Jack nearer the time of the sale, so that will be sort of towards the end of February, well, mid-February really. Those videos will go up, and yeah, we will see you next time. We'll probably see you at the end of the week with our next consignment update with a huge quantity of guitars from one collection. See you soon.